Well, our guest this hour, as I mentioned, is Teamchat. Okay, now Teamchat aims to put users first. It actually adapts to your workflow, fitting right into your existing processes with minimal changes. Their chatlets summarize responses from your group members, giving instant insights and accountability while reducing clutter. I mean, let's face it, chat rooms can get really kind of crazy there, and so this is how they're dealing with this. Teamchat's chatlets. Can you say that 5 times real fast? Teamchat's chatlets collate responses to different questions together in the same discussion and present an accountable summary with complete details of responders and their opinions. Now, here to tell us more about this is Barud Seth, Teamchat's co-founder and CEO. Barud, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks, Craig and Ben. Thanks for having me on the show.
So we're glad to have you here on the program, Barud. So tell us now, you heard me introduce Teamchat, but I think you could probably expand on it and tell us exactly what Teamchat is and how it works. Can you give us an overview, please?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, I did hear what you described, but let me try and explain it in a slightly simpler way.
Yeah.
Teamchat is basically a smart messaging app and platform that enables clutter-free messaging in teams of unlimited size. Right? If you think about it, WhatsApp or even Slack and HipChat and so on, they get cluttered if you create groups of large sizes, right? In fact, WhatsApp limits group size to 100 people. So if you're an enterprise with thousands of employees, you're out of luck, right? Now, even if you could do that, even if you could create large groups, it could get very cluttered when everybody starts responding. You kind of suffer from this reply all problem, right? You get hundreds of messages and it's hard to make sense of who's saying what. So Teamchat has figured out a clever way, I think, to solve this problem, right? We've come up with something we call a smart message, or actually the name we came up with was Chatlet. And I know it's a mouthful, but think of it as a chat applet, right? So an applet is a little programming code embedded inside a chat message that can do some smart things, if you will. Let me take an example, right, to illustrate. Let's say you want to do a poll, right? So you send out this poll message into a group, and let's say you have 1,000 employees in the group replying to it. When all those people reply, what Teamchat will show you is just the aggregate response. It'll show you, let's say, 80% say agree with you and 20% disagree with the poll question. You just see a single message irrespective of how many people replied to the poll, right? So instead of seeing 1,000 individual responses, you just see one aggregated response. Now, similarly, there are other kinds of templates. You can do a survey, you can do location tracking, sales tracking, you can get people to fill in forms and so on. But these are sort of smart messaging templates that aggregate, that summarize the responses, and therefore you can use it, it reduces clutter, and therefore you can use it in teams of unlimited size.
It's been a few years since I've been part of a very large organization, but I was always under the impression that they used emails, that if you need to get the word out to a bunch of people, you do a mass email, maybe keep some kind of internal email. Do you think this is the way of the future, where companies will kind of ask their employees to install something like Teamchat and use this? Is this just the millennials entering the workforce and kind of shrugging off email and saying just send me a message, or is this because obviously you can't replace email in every facet of business, but do you think this is where large company communication is going?
Yes, absolutely. I think, email is getting substituted. I mean, there's a broad trend of people replacing email with messaging, mobile messaging in particular, across consumer and enterprises, right? So on the consumer side, you have WhatsApp and Snapchat and, and in other parts of the world, WeChat, Line, Kakao, and so on. Similarly, in enterprises, HipChat, Slack these days, and then Teamchat is coming in. So people clearly like short messages, instant messages that work well on the small mobile screen. So that's already a proven trend, right? I mean, the data bears it out. But the other part of it is, email has always suffered from this reply all problem. I mean, you get on this long, crazy email thread and everybody replies, and at the end, halfway through it, everybody's screaming, get me out of here. I mean, you just want to leave, and you can't get any work done. So we need better tools, right? Even as we are moving to these mobile messaging apps, we need to solve the problem of this high volume messaging, right? And high volume messaging happens whether it's large teams, or even, let's say these days, as we move to IoT, Internet of Things, you have more and more devices getting connected to the internet, each of which is also sending you messages, right? So your car, your refrigerator, your sensors, your RFID and Bluetooth sensors, etc., they're all going to start sending you more and more messages. So we are all moving into this world of, where the sheer volume of messaging is increasing. And unless we organize it, structure it, summarize it, make it manageable in some way, we're all going to go crazy. And I think that's where, we believe, so apps like WhatsApp and Slack and so on, that was the first wave of messaging, right? That showed the migration from email to mobile messaging. But the next step from here is, something that handles really high volume messaging, whether it's in large groups or whether it's in IoT scenarios. In whatever scenario, I think we need better tools to handle this oncoming flood of messages.
All right, but Barud, let me see if I understand this. So obviously, when you send somebody an email, it can be read immediately, or it might be read the next day. But from what I'm standing about Teamchat, when I send a chatlet, do I assume, or can I assume that everybody I'm sending to are online at that moment, like in a chat room, or can it be deferred? Some people will see it, some people will see it later. I mean, how immediate is Teamchat?
So, like any instant messaging app, I mean, the message goes right away.
It does.
But people may see it at the same time, or they may see it the next day. It doesn't matter, right? It's sitting in their inbox. But the key difference is the following, right? Let me take an example. Let's say you're the sales manager and you need to ask, 500 people in the field, how much sales did you do today, right? This is a routine problem, right? Sales tracking, sales monitoring is a classic problem. Mm-hmm. If you send out an email saying how much sales did you do today, and each one of them then replies, right? They may reply an hour later, maybe 6 hours later, 12 hours later, saying, okay, I did 100 or 200 or 500, right? So the manager is now looking at 500 emails, each with different numbers. What do you do with it, right? In Teamchat, when people reply with those numbers, the manager will see one aggregated message with the aggregated amount, right? So now they can drill down, the manager can drill down and look at the details if they want, but by default, they would see the summarized amount. So the point is that when the replies come back, right, when you send it by email, mm-hmm. you get 500 individual responses. When you send it by Teamchat, you get one aggregated response based on those 500 inputs.
Right, but if only like 300 people respond, then that aggregated response will Teamchat say this is a result of 327 people out of 500. I mean, you'll see that'll be reflected in the aggregation.
Yes, exactly. In fact, it's constantly updating in real time. So it'll say, okay, 5 responses, 10 responses, 20 responses, and then here's the running count. And at any time when you look it up, it tells you the latest real-time update of all the responses so far.
Okay, so because all right, so the paradigm is that with a chat room, there's no delay. When you go into a chat room, you see a list of all the people in there, and they're there, for the most part, unless they walked away from their computer or something. You can be fairly confident that you're chatting, because when they leave the chat room, they go away. So you're fairly confident that most people are seeing what you're doing in a chat room. It sounds to me, Teamchat is like a chat room, but it really isn't a chat room per se.
No, it's a conversation. Like you right. Enter the chat and then you're just in it.
Yeah, I think, see, the thing is with mobile devices these days, it really doesn't matter whether you're at the computer or not at the computer, right? Because these days, you don't even go to the bathroom without your mobile phone, right? So people are always on effectively, and they're always checking every minute or every 5 minutes or something, right? So in the old world sort of PC and web paradigm, you had to ask whether people are at the computer or not at the computer. With mobile, it's evolving where people are kind of always on. Now, it may not be the same minute, but it could be a half an hour later or a few hours later, as the case may be. But they're generally always on, right? And then, so the challenge is everybody is messaging, and they're messaging a lot more, right? So that's the big change in human behavior from 20 years ago to today. We're just doing a lot more messaging because everybody's always on, everybody's available, and they're checking fairly frequently. Therefore, the challenge becomes, how do you reduce clutter? How do you structure it? How do you make sense of all the thousands of messages coming in?
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, because even if your chat room, obviously, if you have your on your phone and you step into your car, you're going to hopefully not stay in the chat room while you're driving. So you're going to sign off. But the point is, with team chat, that really doesn't matter because the question will be there, and then they can respond to it. But it will just be an aggregation of all the different ones that are people. Now, as you say, you can drill down. So I want to see what Charlie said specifically about that. Charlie is maybe one of 20 people in my group, and I want to see specifically. I can drill down and see what his actual response was. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So,
right.
So,
and the point I was making was there are many. The bigger idea is not the specific templates that we've made, but this framework where you can create customizable templates of any kind, right? So if you want to aggregate sales numbers, that's one template. If you want to run a survey, that's another template. Let's say you want to track the location of people in the field, which means every time they go for a customer visit, they could check in, and now you can track, who visited whom at what time, right? Or you want people to fill in a form, right? A customer visit form saying what was the visit like, what was the status, what are the next steps, etc. You can do that too, and so on. There's many different kinds of templates that are preloaded in Teamchat, plus they're customizable ones, right? So you can create templates per your enterprise requirements, depending on your business workflow, and they can be loaded into Teamchat. But in all of these templates, the common theme is when dozens of people, hundreds of people, they fill in, they submit that data. The manager sees it in an aggregated format, in a summarized format. So it dramatically reduces clutter, and therefore, now you can support teams of unlimited size, right? I mean, imagine a simple example where, if there's a large multinational company, today the CEO would never dare to communicate with all the employees, right? Much as they want to. They might want to send out a message or even get some feedback on some new policy changes that they're considering. But if they tried doing that on email or in any forum, I mean, they'd get inundated with thousands of messages. But with Teamchat now, for the first time, it's possible to ask a question, to get the responses, but to get it in a very structured and organized way so that you don't get overwhelmed by all the responses.
No, and it makes perfect sense. Now, let's about these templates. You say you offer them, but really they're just, as you say, templates. People can use Teamchat and design their own templates. I mean, how difficult is it to design a template, or is that something they have to hire you to organize and create?
No, so we've exposed APIs. They're listed on our website right there. And using those APIs, it's very easy for a developer. I mean, it would take anything from a few minutes to a couple of hours to create these message templates. And even better, right? Even better, you can set up some automated messaging workflows. Okay. Now that's a big word. So let me again illustrate with an example. Let's take a simple sort of approval workflow, right? Somebody, a salesperson submits a travel expense request. Mm-hmm. Now, typically the way this works, he submits a request. It first goes to the manager. Once the manager approves it, it goes to HR, and then it goes to finance. So it's like a 3 or 4 step process, right? and in email, typically you send an email, it sits in the person's inbox. If he forgets it, if the manager forgets or it gets lost, how do you remind them? And then, I just think decisions take very, very long. But in Teamchat, you can automate this messaging workflow, which means when the first person submits the request, a message is automatically sent to the manager. If the manager doesn't respond, let's say in a few hours, he gets another reminder, and so on, continuously. When they reply to it, the message then is sent to HR, then to finance, and so on. You can kind of automate it in a way so it handles exceptions, it handles time limits and deadlines, so you can track and monitor so no message ever gets lost. And again, these workflows are very easily customizable using our APIs. So in that respect, I mentioned earlier, Teamchat is not just an app, but a platform that can be programmed, that can be customized to your enterprise sort of business requirements.
All right. That's
and something you mentioned in there a little bit earlier, which was you have managers, and I guess you have people who kind of work under those people. Are there certain systems of permissions that you can set up where can anyone like start a survey, or can anyone do this, or is it like you have one manager per group of people? Is this completely set up as a Teamchat? Is this completely set up as a team with one manager?
No, actually, I meant that somewhat loosely. We try to make it as simple or as much like a regular messaging app as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you've used WhatsApp, right? One person creates the group, so that person is sort of the group admin and invites members into the group, right? So once the group is created, anybody can post a message. Everybody can see the message that's posted in there, and everybody can communicate, and they're sort of equal for most respect. But the group admin can add or delete members, right? So there's some structure that people expect out of standard messaging apps. So Teamchat kind of behaves in the same way for the most part. Now, we do have some extra features. There's an admin-only feature which says, okay, only the person who created the group can post the survey forms or polls and so on. Now, others can reply, but they can only reply in structured ways, right? So they can't initiate a new template, but they can respond to all the templates. Right. So if you had a CEO group, for example, in that case, only the CEO would post messages, but the thousands of employees can respond to it. So there are a lot of features, but wherever possible, we try to keep it as simple or as similar to standard messaging apps that people are already very familiar with.
very cool.
Makes sense.
Yep. Now,
I guess one thing to make perfectly clear is that this isn't exclusive to iOS or Android. Is there any communication between the two? Like it doesn't matter what device you have, you can still join the same, chat group.
Yes, so it's completely cross-platform. It works. It's native on iOS and Android. We have an HTML5 version for Windows and BlackBerry. And then there's a browser-based version for PC and for desktops and laptops as well. So no matter what device you're using, any mobile or web device, you can use Teamchat. And you can also seamlessly migrate from one device to the other. So while you're in the office, you may use your laptop, but while you're on the road, you may use your mobile device, and it would just seamlessly work. Everything is always in sync and just works fine.
All right. Now, there's a website out there called Elance, which says that you can. It's designed so you can, as an employer, hire really good freelancers. So I guess it's the play on words. Freelance and Elance. It's an electronic version of hiring, people who want to freelance for your company. And I understand you had an experience with them. And was this what led you to the development of Teamchat? That experience?
Well, so firstly, yes, I founded Elance. I founded that in 1998,
Mm-hmm.
and we pioneered this whole model of online freelancing.
Mm-hmm.
And, since then, it's grown to be a huge company. I mean, Elance later merged with Odesk, and now the two companies are called, the new name for the company is Upwork, and it's the leading it's the largest online freelancing platform. It does, I think, about $1.5 billion worth of services in aggregate. and about 10% of that is revenues for the company. So it's doing very well, and I believe that paradigm is here to stay for many, many years to come.
Right.
So that's very exciting, and yeah. So I've always been passionate about sort of enabling better ways for people to work, right? So Elance sort of eliminated the barriers of geography, right? You could be sitting in Brazil or Turkey or India and work for companies in Europe or US or wherever they might be. It doesn't matter because of the internet. You could be sitting in Hawaii and working, right, and still able to do that. So we created that platform that enabled the matching and sort of a workplace where people could work together.
Okay.
And in some ways, a similar general theme of when as we saw messaging take off in a big way, and mostly on the consumer side, I realized there was a huge opportunity on the enterprise side as well. How do sort of large groups and large companies come together, or even in small groups, but if you have like I said, IoT devices or sensors sending a lot of messages, we need better tools, more effective tools, more efficient tools to handle this sort of oncoming tsunami of messages.
Right.
So, in the same vein, yes, I mean, I like solving problems in scale, solving them for millions of users. Yeah.
I'll tell you. All right. Well, I want to continue on with this, but we're at the bottom of the hour break, and we're going to take a little break, Beirut, and then we'll come back. Okay. So stay with us. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to the co-founder and CEO of Teamchat. We're going to take a little break. We've got news tips, polls, review from Marty Winston. All that's coming up here on the Computer America Show. We will be right back.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. I want to tell you something about VTech. They always have the coolest telephone systems around. VTech's new 4-line small business phone system, the perfect solution for small business owners that need to install a phone system that has qualities and features that have previously only been available for companies with bigger budgets. First of all, this new system is the most affordable and easy to install 4-line phone system on the market. Its components allow the system to grow alongside a business, up to 10 extensions that can be located anywhere. The 4-line small business phone system also comes equipped with a number of advanced features such as auto attendant for each line, a digital answering machine with mailboxes for every extension, full duplex speakerphones, music on hold, power failure operation, 6-way conferencing, and much, much more. The VTech 4-line small business phone system is available in stores and online at Office Depot, Office Max, and Staples, as well as online at www.vtechphones.com. Tell them I sent you.
Citizens of the third planet.
Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Rack Solutions mat and strap. We've talked about adapting small desktop-style gear, home control gear, small things, to rack mounting by tying things to the Rack Solutions vented shelf that we've covered. One of their more useful rack accessories for helping that happen is their Velcro One-Wrap cable strap. A single length, 180 inches long, on a roll with hooks on one side and loops on the other. So slipping it through vent slots on either side of any kind of tiny little box can snug that down to a shelf. It's also good, of course, for bundling cables together and tying them to inside struts, much as we do when building a PC. They also sent their thin anti-slip mat, a nice way to keep cabling from shoving gear around. Bottom line, Rack Solutions anti-slip mat and Velcro one-wrap cable strap help make rack builds sweeter by being neater. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. We are here with Mr. Bird's Chef, and he's a co-founder and CEO of Teamchat. Talking all about Teamchat, we're just about to get into some of the unique features of Teamchat. But, well, I guess going into the unique features, we should start with some of the what environments do you feel like Teamchat would be best in? Because we've said a lot of enterprise, a lot of a lot of large workforces and things like that. But are you seeing this being adopted in? Obviously, you have a lot of tools for retail, but are you seeing this in hospitals? Are you seeing this, in corporate? Are you seeing this in nothing but retail? What industries are you seeing kind of gravitate towards this?
Yeah, so Teamchat has seen a lot of success in a wide variety of industries. See, the thing about messaging is, it's a foundational element of almost any enterprise activity. Whether you're doing sales or HR or finance or approvals or anything, almost all of it involves messaging, right? So we're seeing a lot of traction with banks, with insurance companies, with retailers, with pharma companies, with consumer goods companies, BPOs, and so on, logistics companies, a wide variety of companies, right? Where either they need to track what the teams are doing, or what their devices are doing as well, right? In all of these cases, the field employees send in data, or their devices send in data, send in messages that then need to be aggregated, routed through a workflow, and organized in very interesting ways. So, we have about 2,000 plus organizations worldwide using Teamchat, and we just launched about 4 or 5 months ago. So that's been very successful so far, and we continue to grow very, very rapidly.
All right. So
that's incredible. It for so many people to pick up on something that fast, it's but I guess at the same time it's not really that surprising, because would you say that anyone who's used a messaging app on their phone would feel right at home? Like, this is just the natural conclusion to bringing these chat apps into the workplace?
Exactly. In fact, if you download Teamchat, you'll see how simple and easy it is. It's just like any other messaging app that you use. You download it, you get set up in about 30 seconds and get going very quickly, right? But in my opinion, it's the next sort of logical extension of messaging, right? So far, messaging has been great for one-on-one messaging, or messaging in small groups, or for small volume messaging, right? But when we go to the next step, people want to do a lot more with messaging. In fact, there's a huge new trend, even on the consumer side. If you look at WeChat or you look at Facebook Messenger, these companies are now enabling more and more things to be done inside messaging. For example, you can do games inside a messaging app. You can do shopping. You can book a taxi. You can order pizza. You can do banking. All of that inside your messaging app, right? So our belief is, on the enterprise side, you're going to see the same trend emerging. People within the messaging app, they should be able to do their CRM, their ERP, bug tracking, and ops monitoring, device tracking, team communication, broadcasting. Just all kinds of use cases are now possible inside a messaging app, right? And the reason for this trend is, on a small screen on your mobile device, people don't like switching across multiple apps. People like to stay with a small number of apps. In fact, if you look at most usage patterns, an average user uses no more than 5 to 10 apps every day, right? So, and the number one app is the messaging app, right? So the more things you can do inside your messaging app, the easier it is for the end consumer. So messaging is emerging as the new platform, right? And the message is therefore the new interface, for ERP, for CRM, and so on. So Teamchat is pioneering this new trend that's emerging very rapidly, where you can just stay inside your messaging app and get, it becomes the front end for all your enterprise activity, right? No matter which system you're dealing with, no matter who in the organization you're talking to or what device you're monitoring, all of that could be done from the single common app.
That is perfect. But one thing that's obviously you had to tackle, and I think you have already, which is you can use this as a front end. Everyone can be using it. You get all your data in there, all that kind of thing. But eventually, you're going to want to have to take that data and put it in a spreadsheet, put it in a chart, put it in another form. Put it in an Excel sheet, something like that. You have to export your data. So what kind of thought have you given to exporting of your data, or how easy is it to get all of the data that you're collecting with this app into another program?
Absolutely right. So Teamchat comes with so there's an admin panel or a web-based interface through which you can get you can download everything as a CSV file, so you can import it into Excel and do spreadsheet analysis with that. Even more than that, we've exposed APIs, which means you can integrate Teamchat with your CRM system, with your ERP system, with your analytics tool, or any other backend system you might have in the organization, so that data can automatically flow from Teamchat to your backend system, or vice versa. Reports and analysis from the backend system can flow out through Teamchat, right? And even there are some interesting things. For example, let's say the backend system is sending out reports to the executives, right? Now, even when these reports go out, these reports can be updated in real time, right? So that even if there are 100 updates during the day, the recipient will see just the latest update, right? Imagine if you were getting real-time updates through email, you'd end up with 100 charts coming in every day. It'd become a big nuisance. But with Teamchat, even if you have 100 updates, you always see the latest message. So Teamchat comes with powerful integration capabilities to integrate with virtually any backend system.
Let me ask you this. You're mentioning Teamchat. How many people can be in a Teamchat? I mean, what's the maximum number? How large can a Teamchat be, or is there no limit to Teamchat?
There is no limit, right? In fact, let me give you another example, right? So we have not just businesses using it, right? But it can be any kind of organization. So we have sort of nonprofit organizations. We have government agencies. In fact, political parties also using Teamchat to communicate. And many of these organizations have millions of volunteers that they need to communicate with. So now they're rolling out in phases, but so far we have groups with a few thousand members. But there is no practical limit to how big the group can get. Again, because Teamchat effectively reduces the clutter and makes it manageable. So even we're diving into the presidential election season. Think about it, right? Each of these parties have millions of grassroots volunteers that they need to communicate, manage, monitor, track, and so on. There aren't good, effective messaging tools to do that. I mean, you can't do that on WhatsApp. You can't do that on Slack. But you certainly can do it on Teamchat, and we already have organizations like that using it.
All right. Well, that's
yeah. By the way, for anyone who wants to check out the Teamchat website, that the case study that you were just talking about, you have up on your website, and I was just browsing through it, and they actually have, or at least the example that you have up here on the website is something that I didn't even think about, is that they have like groups within groups within groups, where they have the overall campaign, and then they have the East and the West Coast, and then they had within that each individual state, city, whatever you want to call it, and all of that, I guess, at the end of the day, does that automatically get aggregated back to the very first group, or do you have to or does each person have to send that information up?
No, you can automate all of it, right? So that's exactly right. You imagine any organization typically has a hierarchy, right? And it's typically a tree structure, right? You may have, I don't know, let's say district level and zone level and regional and then national and maybe international organizational structures, and the information has to flow across the entire hierarchy, and all of that can be automated, right? So in that specific example, using Teamchat APIs, you can set up a customized workflow and that captures that data from the grassroots level and then sends it up every level in the hierarchy automatically, right? So it may take a few hours of work for one developer upfront, right? But once it's done, once it's set up, everything just flows automatically. So there's no duplicate data entry, which means the national head can get a complete real-time update of what millions of people in the field are doing at any given time. And that's incredibly powerful. And I think I think the big idea here is, if you think about it, we're making messaging itself programmable, right? The way we think of messaging today, if you think of WhatsApp, if you think of Slack and so on, it's very static. I mean, a person sends a message to another person. That's it, right? I mean, that's what we normally think of as messaging. And Teamchat takes it to a whole new level, right? We're saying, no, there's much more than that a message can do. A message can be smart. It has intelligence. It knows what its related messages are, so it aggregates. It knows that it should first go to person A and then go to person B and person C. It knows that it should aggregate and go up to the manager level and then up to the next level in the hierarchy. It just knows there's a lot of context that each message has. It's self-aware, it's smart, it has intelligence in it, and therefore, suddenly, you can do so much more with messaging, right? You could, like I said, you could do CRM, you could do ERP, you could do just about any enterprise activity right inside your messaging app. So we're just fundamentally redefining what it means to do messaging, and we're taking it to a whole new level.
Beirut, well, let me just flip this around the other way and ask you this. I mean, so far we're talking about organizations where people, or at least have a common thing in business. But could you use Teamchat? Let's say I'm a large public organization. Let's say I'm like the NFL or something like that, or a baseball organization, and I just want to get feedback from all the fans out there, and yet I don't want it to be one of these little click things. I want a little bit more. I want them to feel that their input is making a difference. And could I do like a survey using Teamchat and invite people to come in and fill out the survey that way, and they'll get more of a personal experience from using it, even though they're not part of the organization themselves? I mean, can you use Teamchat for something like that?
Absolutely, right? In fact, we are talking to it's a celebrity management agency, right? And they want to use it for their celebrities. So let's take any of these sports stars. They have millions of fans, right? And the challenge with fan engagement, with interacting with your fans, is that, well, there's millions of them and you're just one, right? So when you use Twitter or Facebook, at best, you can reply to a dozen tweets or a dozen messages, in a day. I mean, you only have so much time, and there's only so many responses you can send out. So, most fans feel disengaged. They feel like they're not being taken care of. They're not being responded to.
Exactly.
But with Teamchat now, what we're doing is, instead of these one-on-one responses, all the responses come in a structured way. So, for example, let's say a movie star could just ask, okay, should I wear a blue dress or a green dress today? Right? And maybe the fans vote on it. And once they pick, okay, she wears the green dress. And guess what? Every fan feels their vote mattered and it had an impact, right? Or should I sing this song or that song? Or should I do this or that, right? I mean, and that's just a few simple examples, but you could do more interesting things. I'm going to be at this place, this nightclub tonight. Who's going to show up there? And suddenly people can participate and engage in more interesting ways. So yeah, Teamchat enables that. And if you think about it, by the way, in the offline world, right, this is how we do large group communication. Think about it. At a conference, right, you don't have 1,000 people talking at once. You get one guy on stage, you give him the mic, right, and that person speaks, and when they ask a question, everybody does a show of hands in a structured way. So you know what the responses are. And that's what Teamchat does. It's just doing it in an automated way, right? So the analogy to the offline world is very similar, but whenever there's structured feedback, you can have a meaningful conversation, and that's what Teamchat does.
You know what, I can imagine, let's say you're going to have a musician's going to have a concert, a big concert with several thousand people, and they could say, go to the website, and if you're going to come to the concert, download Teamchat, and when we're there, we'll ask you what song you want me to play, and we'll do a survey, and we'll say, and whatever song you want to play, it'll be instantaneous. Okay, well, most of you want to hear this song, and so we're going to play it now. Or then the next time, what would you like to hear? I mean, you could do so. It could be really live. It could be almost that instantaneous.
That's right. And by the way, every nightclub, DJ requests, you name it. I mean, exactly right. I mean, it could be live in real time.
All right. So, all right. Well, so really, we're really forming a picture now of what Teamchat is. What kind of success, first of all, how long has Teamchat been out, and what kind of success is it having at this part so far?
So, I think we've been working on this for about a year and a half now, but we launched it earlier this year in February. Like I mentioned earlier, we have about sort of 2,000 organizations, individual organizations worldwide that are, using Teamchat. That's about, I think, 30,000 plus users using it. And growing very rapidly, because some of these organizations, they start with a few hundred users, but many of them have tens of thousands of employees that they plan to bring on board as they gradually onboard everybody, right? So people are using it for a wide variety of use cases, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it's through banking, insurance, telecommunication, retail, BPOs, pharma, and so on, lots of industries. Across lots of use cases. Typically it starts with the sales team, because sales team management is very sort of revenue focused, so they really love it. In some cases it's HR, in some cases it's operations, or managing retail stores, communication among all of them, automated workflows, and so on. So people are finding lots and lots of creative uses, things that we didn't even anticipate. People are doing that. I talked about celebrity management. I talked about political parties using it. We have some e-commerce companies using it to enable kind of social commerce, right? Where before making a purchase decision, a user wants to ask 20 friends, should I buy this product or not? And they all vote on the poll, and you get your friends' inputs and so on. So we've just been kind of blown away by the variety of things people are doing with it. And, we've designed it to be a very flexible platform, which means we expect that it will be used in lots of different ways that you can't even imagine. In fact, people are also using it for IoT messaging, right? So connecting it to devices, right? You could have thousands of devices that could send messages, and these messages are then aggregated. So you can track and monitor the status of your network or of your systems and servers and so on. So lots of different use cases there.
Exactly. So you think enterprise messaging applications are essential in today's corporate landscape? And why do you think that?
Oh, absolutely. I think there are two ways to think about it, right? One is from a consumer, from an end user behavior standpoint. Okay, we've all voted with our fingers, saying we like these small devices, right? They've almost supplanted computers. There are many more mobile devices out there, so we like these small screens. They're always with us, always in our pockets, no matter where we are. On those smartphones, the number one app that we like is messaging. Right, by far, across even more than voice calling. So that much is already known, right? So therefore, I think what you're going to have is more and more things happening through messaging apps. Okay. The other way to look at it is that in an enterprise context, almost anything that an enterprise does can be translated to messaging. Right? If a manager has to tell employees something, it's a message. If the employee has to report something to the manager, it's a message. If you have to report a problem, if you have to get customer feedback, get input, transact anything, almost any enterprise workflow is, if you really boil it down, it boils down to messaging. So what enterprises are doing is essentially messaging. What end users want is messaging. The only challenge is you need a good, efficient, effective tool, a smart messaging tool that can support all these use cases, right? And the first generation of messaging apps, of mobile messaging apps, what they've solved is the one-on-one or small group messaging problem. And that's fine. I mean, they're immensely successful. It's awesome. But there is a need, as we continue moving and doing more and more things with messaging, you're going to need smarter, more clever ways of reducing clutter, of organizing, of enabling more things to happen inside the messaging app. And that's where Teamchat comes in. I think we are sort of enabling, or pioneering a second wave of messaging that almost redefines messaging, takes it to a whole new level, and does more and more things with it. But our view is, in a few years from now, we would just, in the enterprise context, everybody would be using just a messaging app, Teamchat or something like it, to do everything that they do, right? It could be HR, and it could be CR, sales tracking and HR engagement, and finance and reporting, and getting a pay slip, and notifying sick leave and getting approvals and things like that. No matter what you're doing, it's just a simple message, right? And it's the most intuitive way for a user to communicate, to interact with any backend system. And I think I can already see this trend happening, and sort of we are on the forefront of that trend. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Well, let's just get into the nitty gritty of it. What does Teamchat cost to implement? What are the expenses behind it?
Sure. So Teamchat, I think we've designed Teamchat to be a very frictionless experience for any user, right? So we offer it in a freemium way, which means the basic app is free. You can download it from the app stores right now. Try it for free. Get your colleagues, friends to download it and use it for free as well. And that's free forever, right? The premium part of the service is the admin panel, the administrative panel that's available on the web. And the admin panel has extra features like you can manage different groups, you can monitor your entire organization, you can download data, you have access to APIs, you can customize it, you can do many more advanced things with it. And if you buy the admin panel, right, at that point we charge $2 per user per month across the organization. So it's a very sort of what they call SaaS pricing, software as a service, right. Pay-as-you-go model that scales. So if you have a handful of users, it's a very nominal cost. But even if you have really large users, a large number of users, then there are some volume discounts that we negotiate. But it's meant to be very simple, very easy to start using and then to buy as well.
Especially is because the number of users that can use it are limitless. So all you need, Beirut, is one limitless company, for 1 month, and $2 times infinity, and you'll be set for life. What can I say?
Well, I guess that's what we're counting on. Yes.
No, it sounds like a terrific product, really. Again, if you want to see more, you can go to computeramerica.com, our website, and just click. We have a link right to the Teamchat website, or you can go to teamchat.com, just like it sounds, teamchat.com, and you can see it. And give it a try. Obviously, as you say, it's a freemium, so you can download it. Everybody can download the apps. Now, what about the templates? Are the charges for the templates or the creation of templates? How does that work?
No, for any of that. I think there's just one standard fee, and everything else is kind of included in that fee. So any customizations, in fact, the APIs are published on the website. People can easily build customizations themselves. They don't even have to tell us or share it with us. They just through web-based APIs, they can do what they like. So, we want to make it really easy for people to use and scale it up.
All right. Okay. And again, go to the website and check it out for yourself. Beirut, it looks really interesting, and Ben and I want to thank you for being here with us on the show this evening and telling us about this. This is looks like I can see many applications of how you could use something like this. There's really nothing else like it that's out there. Certainly is unique, and best of luck with you with Teamchat. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your comments. Pleasure to be on the show. Really enjoyed the discussion. Thanks.
All right, Beirut. Let's thank you again, and you have a good evening. Take care. Good night.
Okay, Craig, Ben. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Okay. Teamchat. And
I think he hit it right when he said he was working for Elancer, and at the end of the day, he said this is what he feels is the next natural evolution of all these chat apps. And for large businesses, you can be dang sure that millennials would prefer this a lot more to, let's say, email.
I would think so. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, and also it's such more. You know, as you say, even with an email, if you have like several hundred people, how are you gonna aggregate all those? Where you can do just a survey and you can just say, you know.
Well, the survey gets you the specific information that you're looking for very, very easily.
Yeah.
It's not an open-ended question. It's just like, hey, what'd you do? Give me a number, give me a name, give me a date, whatever the information you're looking for, and put it in the blank. It's not just asking 700 people, say, okay, text message me your blah, 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 and then you sort through it all.
All right, coming up in the next hour, we've got him. The Giz Wiz is going to be joining us. Dick DiBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, will be with us momentarily. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I will be right back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.